Hey guys, Poker Tinking here, back with another video. This time we are going to talk about risk management in TCG, specifically Flesh and Blood. So when I talk about risk management, I'm talking about the risks that are involved when you're making these purchases. So a lot of people will often only talk about the upsides and the rises in the market, cards going up in value, seal product going up in value. They don't really talk about the risks that are involved with things like TCGs. So obviously we know that everything doesn't just continually go up all the time. That's not how things work. That's not how any market for anything ever has worked. So when it comes down to Flesh and Blood specifically, we've had a lot of rises and dips throughout the last 4 years. I would say Flesh and Blood, compared to a lot of card games in that 4 years, has had bigger rises and dips. Obviously Flesh and Blood came out in 2019, and 2020 is when the pandemic hit, and generally every collectible just went absolutely mental. Everything went up, everything skyrocketed. I know from selling card games, selling TCG cards and sealed product in that time, everything I put up for sale would pretty much sell within a couple of days, most specifically Pokemon. So when we go look at Flesh and Blood, a lot of stuff was selling very quickly. Obviously prices were starting to rise, Alpha went up, Arcane Rising first edition, Crucible of War, obviously Monarch as well, cold foils, all the high value stuff, the Fëanor Spring Tunics, the extended arts, everything like that kind of sort of started to go up quite a lot. And we had a massive retrace, and the percentage figure that a lot of people can generally talk about in terms of the retrace for Flesh and Blood was 70 to 90%. So the inspiration for this video kind of came behind having conversations with people in Discords and Facebook groups where they felt that not enough people were talking about the risks involved when you are essentially investing. So when you're buying something, whether or not it's cards for your deck and you're spending say £250 to £300, that is still an investment itself. You're putting money into something that is very speculative. So when I talk about speculative, I talk about generally most card games they haven't been around long enough for there to be an understanding of the market properly. So speculative are things generally that are within the last 25 to 30 years, where the market kind of goes up and down quite frequently. And I guess you could say that about all card games. If you talk about any card game really, you've got massive market movement, you've got prices rising, you've got prices dropping. You know, a new set comes out, the hype is built around the set, and then slowly stuff starts to drop down. That kind of happens with every card game and every release, honestly, whether it's Magic the Gathering, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, Weiss Schwarz as well. Obviously I've got talk now about the Steamboat Willie card in Weiss Schwarz. We have the serialized cards in Magic the Gathering. We've got a lot of serialized cards in Magic the Gathering. With Pokemon, we have the alt arts when they come out. We've got Marianne, for instance. She started to retrace back already. So that is pretty standard in card games, honestly. So there needs to be an understanding of risk involved. When you're buying these items, I understand that could become zero, because I've seen a lot of people very overextended in card games within the last couple of years. People that are getting loans out to buy cards, to buy steel products. You know, a new set comes out, they want to get multiple cases of the new set, so they take a loan out or they buy it on a credit card, for instance, but they're not paying it back because they're forever chasing. So every single set that comes out, they're getting more into debt. And I've seen that for a lot of people. And this is why you see people doing these exit scams, because they dip. They can't afford to be in the Hobbit anymore. They are so overextended that they can't afford to stay in the hobby anymore. So there needs to be an understanding of these kind of risks. When you're buying these cards, most people that are watching this video right now aren't going to be people that have got 50k sat in the bank account at any given time. They're going to be the average person that has a job, that has some income aside, that is put aside for their hobbies like card games, for instance, or people that are buying, selling to fund buying more stuff for their collection or for their decks, etc. So I kind of make this video with raising more awareness for risk management in card games. I would say a good idea is to track the products that you buy, anything sealed, anything high value singles, track them, you know, make an inventory of what you're buying and kind of track the prices. Also, there seems to be a hesitation with a lot of people about selling. If you need to sell to kind of, you know, pay off a debt, for instance, you know, you've got yourself in under, sell. You know, there's no point. Everyone buys everything thinking that everything is going to go up constantly. Oh, I don't want to sell because if I sell for £50 now, it might be worth £100 in 12 months' time. That is the case with a lot of sealed items and a lot of card games, but that's not everything. So this isn't a very long video. This is kind of a quick. I don't want to sort of waffle on too much about the subject because it's quite a large subject considering how much time and money every single person puts into the card games, puts into investments, collecting, their collection goals, you know, into their decks, but they never really stop to think, should I be doing this? You know, how would I feel if this went to zero? Because everything behind me right now, if this went to zero, I'd still be able to enjoy it because I'm collecting it because I love it. And, you know, it's a collection goal first and it's an investment secondly. So I've got a lot of card game stuff from an array of card games, X-Men, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Chaotic. They're all out of print card games, classed as dead card games or, you know, dead CCGs or dead TCGs. And I still enjoy them just as much as I did back when they were in print. Of course, I can't get new product that I haven't seen before, but it doesn't mean I can't enjoy it. And I know that if Flesh and Blood ever went to zero, I would have a very fun weekend opening up the product I have, but I'd also still be able to enjoy it because it doesn't change anything. But could everybody else say the same thing? And look, of course I'd be bummed if it went down to zero and I lost all the value. Most of the stuff behind me I've traded for or I've bought through sales from other card games. So I generally, the way I sort of approach it is I don't generally like to spend too much of my own money on card games. It is expensive, you know. It's a hobby that's becoming more expensive as the years go by. I like to keep my own money for going to things like Japan on travels and stuff like that and actually kind of spending time outside of the hobby. But so that's why I kind of allocate funds from like sales, for instance, to go into. I just think, you know, people need to be sort of understanding the whole situation, really. Just kind of sit down, think about it a bit more. Don't make rash decisions. FOMO is a leading driver of a lot of things that we all buy on a daily basis. Kind of take it a little bit back a bit and think, do I necessarily need this? Think about it over 24, 48 hours. But, you know, this is just a short video. It's not supposed to be a very long video. But kind of understanding the risks involved in card games. This can become zero. It's very speculative. Markets change up and down. The reason why a lot of the cards are going up is because new players are coming into the game. But if there isn't any new players coming into the game, then are these cards going to be played? And then if the cards aren't being played, how much value do they have, honestly? So anyway, thanks all for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe as always, and have a great day.